So now we're going to share just some practices that we've practiced ourselves that have helped us move through these sometimes challenging, painful initiations.
Mostly challenging, mostly.
Opportunities.
Yes, gifts.
Gifts. And I don't know. Oh, they're all so good. I'm going to just start with inner partnership. So, as I said, before Sean came into my life, I just thought, oh, he's going to come in and it's going to be perfect. And I'll never feel lonely. I'll never feel wounded and it'll be all good. And that's not what happened. So, and we've gone through all these initiations. So I had no choice but to partner with myself because he wasn't always there. And we were going through these initiations of abandonment and withdrawal and all sorts of things. So there was nowhere else to turn but to myself. And I had turned to myself before him, after my divorce and through my awakening, but I still always had in the back of my mind, but there will be a partner coming in. There will be a partner. So I didn't fully turn to myself until I was in partnership. And I realized even with this most amazing partner, there's still going to be times when he's not there for one reason or the other. So it was just like, it was such a beautiful gift to have the experience of fully coming back to myself and like having this solidarity with myself, that knowing, no matter what, I got you. No matter what, I got you. I got you. I love this man and I want to be with him. And I know he has me too. But at the most fundamental level, I got you. I got you. I got you. And this commitment that I will never abandon myself, ever. And I had abandoned myself throughout my whole life, trying to keep relationships together, trying to get crumbs in relationships. I contorted myself. I abandoned myself, all manners of this throughout my lifetime with family members and men and friends, all of it. And I got to the point where I realized I'm done with that. I will never abandon myself again. This complete solidarity with me, with my truth, with my feelings, with my dreams, with whatever feels in alignment for me. That first and foremost, I am partners with me and source. that is the foundation. That is the foundation of my life. Partnership with myself first. So that was like the biggest gift I could ever get. So I'm grateful. Thank you, Mr. Sean Kelly, for helping me find that.
Thank you. Can I do the next one?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to pick Find Your Own Freedom.
Okay, awesome. I love that one.
It piggybacks off yours.
Yeah.
Really. Basically, what we want to do is in the first practice, partnering with yourself, you're kind of dating yourself. You're romancing yourself a little bit, trying to get to know the parts of you that you pushed away a little bit when you were younger because it wasn't safe for some reason. So you're just really what you're doing is trying to ask yourself why a lot, right? Oh, you like this? Why? Why do you like that? Right? It's almost like you're on a first date in a way. You're really starting to go, oh, I actually have wants and desires and things I like and, things that I maybe wasn't thinking were possible. And I should talk to myself in many ways about these things. And it's nice to try to set some time aside to do this in some type of meditative way. Like that's why one of the ways meditation is so profound because we observe the thoughts arising. We're not able to really not see ourselves when we're meditating because the thoughts just keep arising. And so what we're doing though with that partnership, in our partnership with ourselves, is we're trying to find our inner truth. Like, what does our inner guiding star say about us and about what we're doing? And we're starting to learn how to tune in to ourselves instead of looking for the world to direct us. The answer's out here in the world, and I'll get this piece of information, or I'll start researching a bunch of stuff, and then I'll figure it out from all the research. You already have a dream, a soul's yearning. You already have it within you. You just have to tune in to it. And so a lot of times we're kind of looking outwardly. And so we're just turning the eye in, really, and learning about ourselves. And in that, we have to accept and surrender a whole bunch of different things that we see, and just surrender to life. Just basically choose faith in life. We could see this however we want, but it's basically faith in life, which would be faith in God. It's the same thing. Life is God, or nature is God, source, however we want to frame that. We're just choosing to trust that the universe itself is orchestrating towards our highest best. And we can do that by looking at our past experiences and just noticing that with each one of them, even the really bad ones, we've found some type of strength or learning from it that, and we may not be there yet. We may be in the middle of problems or challenges that we haven't seen the value in. But eventually we see that every time it does turn out that we learn something really valuable and important to our peace, and that our peace is kind of the goal, not the other outcomes. So that's the next step, is to notice that the outcomes that you want, the things you want, they're not actually going to resolve anything. It's better to get the peace. The outcomes these are just gifts that will show up automatically through, just as if magic, just popping in, because you are in your sovereign divine state, just trusting. And, a lot of times when we say no to stuff, we don't realize it, but the universe is trying to start the chain of events that brings us something very beautiful. And we've just not felt like it because we were a little tired. And we said, I don't feel like doing that right now. A lot of times the universe, that was the thing, right? It was, your mother asks you to go to the store to get something for, you're at family dinner or whatever. Your mother says, can you run to the store? And you're like, I don't really want to. Can't we just do this? Maybe at the store you would run it, like if you don't have a partner already, maybe you'd run into a partner there. The universe is trying to collide you with your destiny, and you don't feel like it a lot of the time. So you're starting to look at these resistances that you have to anything. And then also the attachments to the outcomes, and starting to focus more on doing what feels good as it emerges, instead of focusing on an object or outcome and then working towards the outcome. You can still have a preference, or like hold that vision. You see that thing in your future that you really like, and you can make a plan for that. But basically you're not attached from the plan. So you have a plan, you know what you're doing, but you're not attached, and you just allow it to emerge out of you. Emergence is sort of the key. So it's just trusting in all of that, and then look for ways to ground you as well. Basically, everyone has different techniques for this. I like to take baths. Baths are probably the best thing for me, to just lay in the bath, a really hot bath. Other people, or walking in nature, meditation, any of these types of things, yoga, whatever it is, chanting, whatever it is that you can chill out. Sometimes when we're looking at ourselves, we get ourselves a little upset, or overexcited. So if we're upset or over energized and excited, that's the time to ground, probably.
Yes. So beautiful. So that's the second practice, is finding your true freedom, which to me at least is your inner peace. And I'll just say that my goal previous to this was, oh, I want to be with my life partner. I want to be with my life partner. That was my number one goal. And through this experience, I realized actually my number one goal is just peace within me in as many moments as I can experience it. That's my number one goal. My number one goal is just my own inner contentment and peace. And what do I need to do to just keep maintaining that in myself? And so that was just a huge expansion for me. It's, yes, I want the relationship. I want lots of other external things too. But that's all the icing on the cake. The cake I bake myself. The cake is about, am I grounded? Am I at peace? Am I moving through my day with joy? That's what I really want. That's what I really want.
And when you're doing that, you're generally going to be strangely focused on doing random stuff for other people for no reason. You're going to generally start to find that you have this just draw to serve some group of people, your family in some ways. You're just going to feel like it will feel really good to just help here with whatever I'm seeing. Not because I want it to be different, just because it will feel really good to do so. That's back to that emergence. It just emerges. This service emerges out of you naturally.
Yeah, I think we're just really letting spirit flow through us. We become the hollow bone at that point, which is very peaceful. Okay, the third practice we'll share here is a continual asking of yourself, why? Why do I want to ask my partner this question right now? Why do I want to share this? Why? So I'll just give one example. Sean has been going through just some amazing consciousness expansions, and it's amazing. And I was feeling a bit insecure, and he was telling me that some aspects of himself were changing, some aspects that felt like really important to our relationship. He said that I think I'm changing in certain ways. And so I got scared, like fear came up.
I think I said sexuality, right?
Yeah.
My sexuality was changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of a doozy.
Yeah. He said it in a text as well.
I wasn't really thinking.
I think it was a catalyst for me. It was a good catalyst for me. So yeah. So Sean texts me, my sexuality is changing. And, my mind goes to, so are you not attracted to females anymore? Like what
does that mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
So, and I did immediately ask him that question, and he generously replied, no, it's not that. So I did feel better about that, but I still had lots of other questions were coming up. And so the old me would have just asked him a bunch of questions, but the newer me through this process, I stopped myself because I wanted to ask him everything. And then I was like, why? Why do you want to ask him so many questions right now? And the answer was, because I'm scared. So I decided I'm not gonna ask these questions right now. I'm just feeding fear. I'm going to feed love and faith. I'm going to have faith. He already said he's still attracted to women, so we're good there. And I'm just going to have faith that it's all going to be fine. And at the right time, we'll talk more about it. And this was a huge expansion for me. Huge.
Yeah, right? I was very excited about it. Yes, I was very excited about it too, because I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Once I texted it, I was like, I shouldn't have texted that probably. And then I was also like, but I've, it's sent now. What am I, whatever. And then I was like, any second she's going to say, can we talk on the phone for a minute? Cause that would be normally her route would be to, okay, this is a little, I don't know what this terrain is that we're navigating together. And you just said, kind of dropped a bomb on me over text. So can we talk on the phone for a minute? I would have done that, but I noticed that she didn't really do that. I think she asked a question or two, and then I sort of said, I don't really have much more information on it. I was just commenting without thinking about sort of how grand that statement kind of could be. And that I was just trying to say like how much stuff is changing in my reality after just like a couple of days of this shift that went on for me. And so I was trying to just share random things. To me, it was nothing. It was just a detail, basically. So it was really, really interesting. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that piece.
So I think what's interesting too is that sometimes I call these bombs that sometimes are dropped, or cliffhangers. Mm-hmm. And it's happened a lot. And I wonder if maybe because I shifted finally, maybe it might not happen so much anymore. Maybe the lesson, the expansion for me was, I don't need to feed my fear. I'm going to I trust life. I trust all is happening for highest and best. I'm just going to leave it at that for now.
All good stories have a little bit of cliffhanger in them, right? So it's totally normal to just like, some of it, sometimes we got to just trust our partner will tell us when they know, like, we could just let them know, I really would really feel good if you just said this, that's really, got stuff coming up for me. I'd really like to talk that out more at some point when you feel ready. Like that's a type of way that you could approach it so that the other partner goes, oh, whoops. Like they may not have known that they just did that. That type of thing. So you can approach it in a way that's, and then you can still have like, and exactly, Debbie just said all divine timing, right? Like appreciate that the human is the one that's going, I need to know right now. And a lot of times we need to know right now, we're not going to quite get what we are demanding.
Well, and I think it's because the invitation is to cultivate your own peace.
Exactly.
No matter what is happening.
Exactly.
That's the invitation. Do you want to share another practice?
Yeah. Can we do the tree one?
Oh yeah. Yes. The poop tree.
The poop tree. So this is something we came up with today that we thought was hilarious, but also very, very kind of in accordance with what our experience has been. So basically, you're the creator of your own life, right? So Tassel's talked about this, about how you're a gardener of your own reality, or you're a gardener of your mind. We could think of it. Basically, we've planted all of these different trees. We've planted some trees that are like red, delicious apples, right? And then we've planted poop trees. And so basically the poop trees are, this is so silly, but it's true. It's they produce fruit that tastes bad, right? And the other trees produce fruit that tastes good.
And the delineation is fear when we're planting fear versus faith. Yeah.
Fear is the poop tree, right? We don't have to use poop if we don't want to use poop, but we're planting using our beliefs. We're forming this belief like, let's say, for example, I had an issue in a science class where the teacher asked a question and I said an answer that I was certain was right. And then everyone laughed at me because it was really dumb. I might decide that it's scary to try and speak out in public, right? In a crowd, I may decide that. And so I've created this belief that it's scary to do that, or if you're speaking out, you're vulnerable. People might attack in some way. I've created a sort of fear. So later, when I'm with my partner, and I did that when I was a child, later with my partner, she might say, "Oh, I want to do retreats with you," and like we go to this group session together, and we sit in this circle, and we talk to everyone, and have this support group thing. And then the person's like, "I have to talk in front of people." I don't know if I really want to talk. I mean, most people probably won't understand what I'm saying. Most people aren't going to get me. They might think that what I'm saying is kind of dumb. I might come across weird, whatever. They'll say something like that to the partner. The partner is going to go, I don't like that fruit. That fruit's not hitting the right spot because that fruit was grown in the poop garden. That fruit was grown out of fear. Whatever's created in fear will hold an essence of fear. And so even though when the thing's brought up, the person may not feel afraid, they just are expressing, I'm fine with it, but people don't know what I'm saying. And I've done this, like people don't know what I'm talking about. And I've said these things. And then Tassel's like, well, or I used to say, I'm so weird. People don't get me at all. And Tassel's like, you're not that weird. Right. So it tastes a little bit not great. And so what we want to do is notice when that happens and trust our partner a little bit. And basically what we do is we set our energy to see the truth. So first we can wake in the morning and say today, something like, I just like to recommend people just follow what feels good to say for them about their affirmation for the day. So I tend to wake up. I don't say the same thing every time. I wake up and just say whatever I feel is emerging. So I'll say something like, today I'm going to see the truth for what it is. I'm going to be love or divinity here now as myself. I'm not going to engage in the limitations that my human wants to be stuck in, things like that. And we're just setting an intention sort of for the day. It's talked about by all the successful people pretty much all over the place. We're just setting our energy. And then that helps us to notice when we're at a high vibration and we have good energy, we actually can notice our fear beliefs a little easier. And the trick is to notice them and we don't get pulled into them. And then just go, oh, that actually is a bit of a misperception. I've generated this thing in an error. Just because I got made fun of one time when I was a kid doesn't mean that I don't know how to talk to a group or that I don't know how to do something. What it means is that I had an experience and that's it. I had an experience. Nothing else has to come out of that meaning beyond that, other than I had an experience that I didn't really enjoy. So we kind of uproot that tree and we just plant a new one that says, I know how to talk to people. People listen to me. People hear me. They're doing their best to hear me. Like we can even do it gradual, right? They're doing their best to hear me. I trust that the universe, if they can't hear me, they're not meant to hear me. So we can start to reform this new tree of positivity that is formed around the same belief that used to be icky. And so when our partner brings up anything that's in their field around a belief that's not aligned with truth, which is a belief aligned in love, then the partner is going to go, that doesn't taste like love or truth. That tastes like fear. And they're going to notice it. And then the choice then becomes, well, how do they respond to it? And that's where you start to come together and figure out what's gentle, what's not gentle, what helps. Like for me, I have to figure out specifically for Tassel, what is the most harmonious approach that she seems to be resonant with when I'm noticing this. And does she want me to be just quiet, or does she want me? Some people just prefer that you don't comment at all, that you just kind of sit nicely and hear them out and then say, I hear you. Thank you for sharing. And that's all you need. So it all depends on the person. But basically you're doing this every time you create these new trees and these new beliefs, the whole field, your whole attraction field just shifts. You don't have the distortion. Now you've cleaned up that area and now your positivity is going to bloom. And you're doing this in so many different areas of your life. You could call them categories or niches or something of your life and your experience. And so you're using this sort of analogy to just decide what kind of garden you want to have and experience. And if something's not feeling good, there's a fear there. So it's an opportunity to get into the soil and clean out the garden of your mind. And yes, your partner can help you with that if you feel comfortable with that.
Plant the trees whose fruit you would really like to enjoy, not whose fruit you would not like.
Oh, one thing we said earlier too is a lot of times we have one of those trees, and because we have a nasty tree planted, and it's I some of these words I don't like because we don't really want to judge it. We don't want to say the fear is wrong. It's just not true, right? So what ends up happening is the partner will trigger something that triggers the fear, and then we paint fear on them. We project fear all over them, right? We rub it all over their body. And then we're like, why are you so, and then we ask them, why are you being so blah, 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 right? Why are you being a jerk? Why are you being unkind? Why are you being whatever? Because we've become afraid. And so then we project it. And that's how the projection happens. Otherwise, we'd be projecting just love and we wouldn't notice the unkindness. The unkindness would be like, oh, what a character they are. Look at this. Look at that. They're acting a little bit funny right now. That's basically how we would see it. If it's entirely not a trigger at all, it won't unsettle or unsway us in any way because it doesn't mean anything other than they've just done this thing and they're a human being expressing themselves, and that's what they've done. So we can just notice what comes up from it. And when we project our fear, and then when the other feels the fear getting projected, they're going to feel like offended probably in some way, like, oh, I don't want that. What are you doing? And then they're going to react in some way. And all of this is happening energetically before the words. The words it's the space between the words. Eckhart Tolle often says this, it's the space between the words where the real stuff happens. So
beautiful. Okay, we have just a couple more practices because I know it's getting.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yes, already 8:30. So we have a couple more practices and then a few more points. So I hope it doesn't go too long. Okay, the next practice really helped me in knowing that I was enough, because I talked about this was one of the initiations, was feeling not enough, and this is very painful. So what my higher self basically helped me to understand is that me, in just being me in my complete authenticity, is actually what my divine partner is attracted to. Because it's so easy for us to think, oh, I should be this, I should be that, I should be more like this person or that person, I should be different or better or something apart from who I really am. And the truth is, your divine partner is magnetized to your absolute authentic expression of yourself. And that shouldn't even actually be the focus of it. But that's like the reward of it. So you are so enough. You are here on the planet to be you. You are not here to be anybody else. You are here to be you in your absolute most authentic expression. Anything else is a travesty. Anything else but your own authentic expression is not what the world needs. The world needs you. The world needs you in your absolute authentic beingness. And then, kind of as a reward, this is also what brings in your divine partner, is when you are vibrating out your authenticity, your divine partner is coming right in. So we don't have to worry about being enough or about being somebody that we're not. We're here just to be ourselves. Our life purpose at its most basic is just to be ourselves. Everything else is sort of icing on the cake.
It's funny because society sort of tells you the opposite. Be like everyone. Be like the norm we've identified as the best norm. And so, yeah, this is a really big one. I think it's actually, if we just do this alone, just to like sort of be ourselves authentically without hurting people, but authentically be ourselves, without trying to hurt anyone and just be okay with that. That it's that simple, really. It's that simple for us to feel sort of peace and just being ourselves. The more we do it, the more we'll realize it's fine. We just have to let go of the judgment that we feel sometimes.
That's such a good point, that peace is so maintained within us when we are ourselves. There's such an inner conflict when we're not being ourselves. Because our soul wants us to be ourselves and just express ourselves authentically. And then the societal programming comes in. Oh, but I should be this, I should be that. And this can create a lot of inner conflict.
Divinity wants to emerge. And then the egoic sense of self filters the divine expression into something else. And then the soul's kind of like, what the heck?
What kind of mask do I need to put on to be accepted by who I think I need to be accepted by?
Yeah. So you can think like, if I'm just like really into dancing, but I only do it by myself. And, basically I couldn't imagine dancing in front of somebody else, let's say. That might be an opportunity for us to really expand, go do that. And then somehow like go to a dancing place and do that. So a lot of that being weird, or we might think like dancing is inappropriate or gross or silly, whatever it is. But we feel called to in some way. So these are some of the areas to look into, like as far as being yourself. But first you have to date yourself a little bit and figure out who you are, right?